This is why I say the best return on investment is paid ads, particularly on Meta. In this video, we're going to talk about how Jason was able to close a deal for a single family home by running his first ever paid ads campaign. So stay tuned, watch till the very end, and also experience what it feels like to be a client for ScaleYourResults.com. Awesome, Jason. Thanks for making it, man. I appreciate you being here today. So obviously, we wanted to talk about a little bit about your experience with Scalar Results. I know you're super busy, so I appreciate you lending me some of your time. So Jason, why don't we get you to just give a quick introduction on who you are and the market that you service?
Thanks for the introduction, Sammy. So, my name is Jason. I've been in the industry for almost about 5 years now, and I predominantly help people in the Greater Vancouver area.
Amazing, fantastic, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jason, I think your journey has been pretty solid, man. In which, like, I think you've finally been able to tap into that beautiful work-life balance with a
100%.
young family that a lot of agents yearn from. But I also know that it doesn't just happen overnight, and there's definitely, an investment of capital required to be able to buy that time back. And I'm so happy that, you're finally starting to see a bit of a return on that capital. So I wanted to
hmm
first start by asking you, how has your overall experience been in working with Scale Your Results?
So I got introduced to this program by a fellow agent. She said a lot of great things about you. In the beginning, I was a bit skeptical. I mean, I know there are lots of coaching programs out there. But she kept saying great things about this program, and then I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot, right? I was in a bit of a slump. I was helping majority of my SOIs, and that kind of dried out. So I decided to give it a try, and honestly, I can't complain, right? I learned so much. I mean, I got into this industry by, learning stuff from the board, right, from managing brokers. But a lot of the things that I'm learning here at Scale Results and from you, Sammy, is these things are not just being taught at the board by managing brokers, right? There's a lot of modern technology and modern ways of doing things that really, I mean, when you go on social media, sure, people will say 10 to 15 seconds of, how they became successful, but I mean, they don't really teach it to you, right?
Right.
And and this program does, right?
I
So,
appreciate that.
Sammy, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, you pointed out a really pivotal thing there, in which, I think from a brokerage perspective, it serves their best interest to protect the compliance of the brokerage because they take the liability, right? So
Uh-huh.
oftentimes what I find is brokerages are so heavy on that compliance-based training where they want to make sure that your paperwork is in line. But again, there's really no point of perfecting yourself in the operations side of the business unless you actually have deals to do to then use that training for those compliance-based specifics as part of your business, right? So I think to your
Absolutely.
point, it doesn't have to be, but it
hmm
needs to be someone to be able
Right.
to then put together that client acquisition system, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for sharing your experience. Now, I want to ask you, typically, if you find yourself stuck with something,
hmm
because obviously these are a lot of new sort of technologies and principles and stuff that's pretty unconventional
hmm
to be able to capture new business. Normally, if you get stuck with something, how quickly do you typically get support from either me or someone from the team?
So I've been in the business long enough that I don't really have a lot of urgent problem or need support. Um, I can usually kind of figure it out myself. Um,
Mhm.
But again, if it is things that, I need help with, again, majority of the time it's not urgent. I can either book a call with Sammy, and you're obviously very, you know, you stay on your schedule, and then you're very, very good about that. Um, I know when I first joined the program, you did share with us, with everyone, that putting questions up on the school board so that everyone can read it and we can all kind of help each other out. Um, I didn't really have a lot of experience about that. Again, I've been in the industry long enough. So, but I mean, I think I would strongly recommend to newer agents who need help, especially on things that are, maybe tenured agent would know, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think that's a really good area to post questions. And, if I do have anything that, is a little bit more urgent problem, then yeah, I will post it up on there.
Amazing. And what kind of value or feedback do you have on some of the regular revolving coaching calls that we have? There's typically, and I wouldn't even call them coaching calls. I would call them collaborations sessions, to be
Hmm.
honest with you. And I know you're
Hmm.
very consistent with those sessions. We typically do at least 3 times a week. What is your feedback on those sessions?
So I really like how now they are a little bit more organized than before. I like how on certain days, we have things to talk about, and I like how they're very interactive, right? A lot of coaching calls that you kind of see on YouTube or anywhere else, it's just kind of like one person kind of teaching stuff to you, right? And a lot of time you don't really get to ask questions, right? After maybe you'll be able to email them, but I mean it's not really interactive, right?
Hmm.
And we have to think about thousands of things. There's so many things to think about. So like after you just kind of forget about it, right?
Right.
But I like how our coaching calls are very interactive, and you are very in depth with the feedback and the answers that you give us. And just like everyone else, I mean, you know, there's no way you can know everything, right? So, if there is anything that you don't know, you take it back and then you find the answer and you let us know, or you tell us where to go look for the problem or the answers.
Amazing. Well, I'm glad that you're finding value out of it. And to your point, yes, man, like I learn from you guys pretty much every single day, right? That's why it's more so I shouldn't even call it coaching calls. Like I think there's just more, you know, high level mindset collaboration sessions, right? So
Right, right.
I appreciate your attendance to those because I too, to this day, learn something new either from if it's from yourself or an agent sitting in Ontario, right? So
Mm-hmm.
definitely a ton of value there for sure. Um, Jason,
So,
I want to pivot into, some of your success. Obviously, you started your first ever online lead generation campaign. And I
mhm.
know I had to really drill in some of the value based on perhaps sharing other people's examples so you can start believing in it because it is difficult to start believing in it if you haven't had experience in the past, right? So I
Right.
know that you were able to close a deal out of it most recently. Do you mind sharing me a little bit about that system that you have put together, or rather, we put together collaboratively together for your online lead gen?
So yes, you're absolutely right. In the beginning, I was very hesitant just because it's another cost. It's another fixed cost monthly that is going out of my bank account, right? But again, I was starting a young family. My business, I wanted to grow my business, and I was trying to find ways, right? And then I joined this coaching call, and then yes, you strongly encouraged me. And honestly, one of the best things I've done in my life,
Amazing.
right? Um, I wanted to share quickly about my experience. So I had a client who was looking to buy his first property, right? He wanted something very specific, right? And he wanted a big lot home that needs a little bit of work, right? And we had to go a little bit out into the interior, but we found exactly what he was looking for, right? Um, After going to look at it, doing an inspection, right? He fell in love with the property, so we're like, okay, let's go ahead with it, right? We were able to get this property, Sammy, for 30K under asking,
Mm.
right? And best of all, during the subject removal period, we got appraised by the bank, and it appraised for 100,000 more than what it was, or it was $100,000 more than what we bought it for.
Mm. So instant equity.
100,000 instant equity right there,
That's incredible, man.
right?
And this person, you don't know this person. This wasn't sphere of
N-
influence or referral. This came
Absolutely
directly out
not.
of the leads that you generated.
Exactly, exactly. Facebook, Instagram leads, right? And he was such a nice man who just it was actually his first property,
Mm.
right? He's a gentleman in his 50s, and he was renting the whole time, and he wanted something, right? And he was finally ready, and he was on social media, like on one of my ads, and then we got connected,
I want to talk a little
right?
bit about, because a lot of agents, the other fear that other agents have is, sure, I can start my lead generation, but I'm so busy with other clients, I don't have time to reach out to
Hmm.
these leads. And what happens is they don't reach out to those leads, and next thing you know, they don't close, and they've spent a couple $1,000s on lead gen, and now they have a
Right,
negative outlook on online lead generation, right? So
100%.
how has that system that we've set up for you helped you sort of almost buy time back because you're not doing the ground level prospecting, right? So
Hmm.
how has that sort of been helpful? And what do you think about this ISA that we put together for you to be able to do, that grind work of calling all the leads and setting up appointments? Like, what has that experience been like for you?
Again, another life changer, game changer, for sure, right? Again, that's another thing that you strongly encouraged me, and again, one of the best things I've ever done, right? Um, I wanted to, I didn't want to work 50, 60, 70 hours per week, right? And to be honest, I don't really enjoy um, call being the first point of contact. And I've always learned that if it's something that you don't like to do, if you don't enjoy doing, source it out,
Right.
right? And we hired an amazing virtual assistant, ISA, right? And she does the first point of contact. And then now it's a bit of a warmer lead. Of course, I have to do a lot of the legwork to follow up, right? But I mean, not having to do the first point of contact, and then having to kind of filter out, and me saving that time, spending more time with my family, that's been a game changer, definitely.
Amazing, man. Yeah,
Mhm.
dude, I think this interview, the whole objective of this was really to make people understand that for more business, you don't you can challenge the norm a little bit, right? Like because all of the training and coaching that we've received in the past has been so drilled into, cold calling, if you want to do 20 deals a year, you got to make 24 contacts per day. And like realistically, 24 conversations a day require at least a couple hundred calls, and that's like 4, 5, 6 hours worth of a full-time job just prospecting, right? So now I get that if you're a new agent and you don't have the capital required to be able to invest into a client acquisition system, but people like you who do have the capital, right? A lot of agents in
Mhm.
their second, third year that have done enough deals to be able to then reinvest in their business. I mean, this is a very clear cut. You put in a dollar, you get X amount of dollars back, right? And so I appreciate you coming on, Jason, because this is a not just a success story, but it's an example for other people that have hesitation, thinking that they'll get burnt again because again, leads do not mean deals. A
Right.
system equals to deals, right? So I think this is a great example of people looking at your experience and going, okay, you know what? Maybe I can too start baby steps and let's just see what happens. You were able to do this in the driest time of the year in August.
Mhm.
I don't even know what's about to happen in September with these rate cuts that we're dealing with. But the beautiful part here is now the system is set up,
Mhm.
right? Like it's on autopilot. right? So
Right.
now it's just about gauging their ROI and little by little, just expanding that dial a little bit more.
Mhm.
But it's gonna roll, right? And so that's the little first bit of a stretch, having that system in place. Now you don't have to worry about it. Now it's taken care of for you, and your only purpose in your work days is to just service as many appointments as humanly possible.
And that's absolutely right. And I purposely invested more into my business in the driest time when the market was slow because I knew that a lot of agents were going on vacation, right? Things were slow, so either they're going on vacations or leaving the industry completely, right? I purposely invested more into my business that time so that I can capitalize on that market share. And also when the market gets busy, just like you said, Sammy, I have a system in place that has been going on so that I'm going to be able to reap the benefits, right? When the market gets busy, when people are actually ready, when the rates actually drop,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. Well, Jason, I really really appreciate your time, man. I'm so excited for what the rest of the year is yet to bring for us.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm privileged and humbled to have been able to support you in this journey. So yeah, thanks again, man, for taking your time. And I look forward to many more wins to come.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan.
Appreciate it.